3 people dead after a shooting in Georgetown this weekend. What investigators have found so far.
Plus, new information is coming to light on the suspected shooter of Charlie Kirk. What more we have learned today.
Good morning. We have a little rain possible today and then more rain later on in the week. We'll detail it all in First Warning Weather.
In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News at 11.
Georgetown police are searching for the person who shot and killed an 8-year-old and 2 adults. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Avery Travis.
And I'm Will Dupree. Officers say they found them dead this weekend inside an apartment. Officers responded Saturday night to the Georgetown Park complex on Luther Drive near I-35. Police say they now have a person of interest identified. They say they believe the suspect and the victims knew each other. The victims' family members told us they are in shock and desperate for answers.
Don't know much at this time. Like, we really haven't heard much. We don't know much. Just know that they're gone.
If anyone out there has information about the shooting or the suspect potentially involved here, you're asked to call police immediately.
First Warning Weather.
All right, we're taking a live look over downtown from this camera here at our studios in West Campus. A gorgeous view. I'm glad to see it again. It's been a little bit.
You know what? I was just going to say it is a happy Monday because Avery is back joining us after a little bit of a whirlwind trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Will and I haven't shared the desk together in about 3 weeks.
It's been a long time.
Rich, I'm glad to see your face over there too with a beautiful Austin background.
That's right. And you know what? This building in the bottom center of your picture, that's our sales office. Erica Brennis pointed that out to me earlier this morning. She says, "What's that flashing light?" And then we figured out that's our sales office across the street. So
there you go.
All right, we are looking at a sunny sky, at least from this vantage point here, but we do have some clouds that will be increasing later on during the day. We're mostly sunny over at Camp Mabry. It's 86 degrees. The wind is light out of the south. We're getting mostly a south wind at under 5. And the humidity, which was in the 80s earlier this morning, has now dropped all the way down to 48%. Temperatures are in the 80s area-wide, a general range of 80 to 87. Our lowest temperature is 80 at Fredericksburg, and our warmest is 87 at Georgetown. We're heading back to the low to mid 90s today with those increasing clouds. Now the dew points, which were in the lower half of the 60s throughout the entire hill country, have dropped now to 59 at both Burnett and at Marble Falls, but for the rest of the area, except at Luling and both reporting stations in Fayette County, we're in the 60s. Now, these humidity levels will drop off as we get later into the afternoon, and ultimately a south to southeast wind will take over as we get further into the day. Most wind speeds at around 5 to 10. Low rain chances in our forecast early to late afternoon. They should be gone if it does rain at all. The map models continue to show that, as they did yesterday, so we'll put in a low chance of rain through the afternoon, tapering by the evening. After today, when the rain is back, we have no major temperature changes, and we're still watching the Atlantic. We still have only had 6 named storms. We're watching the Atlantic for a potential 7th coming up in First Warning Weather. Avery?
Rich, thank you so much. Prosecutors in Utah expect to formally bring charges against Tyler Robinson this week. He's the man accused of assassinating conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
Washington correspondent Vinay Simlot explains what more we've learned so far about this deadly shooting.
The Utah Governor Spencer Cox says right now the motive is not clear. He says the suspected shooter, Tyler Robinson, had a, quote, leftist ideology, but says he spent a lot of time scrolling dark corners of the internet. Amazing grace. He was considered a political force, the man responsible for bringing conservative ideas to college campuses.
Charlie Kirk recruited and trained and educated a generation of happy warriors.
Mourners celebrated Charlie Kirk at the Kennedy Center on Sunday night. Investigators say 22-year-old Tyler Robinson shot and killed Kirk at an event at Utah Valley University last Wednesday.
We lost a great person.
Court documents show one of Robinson's family members told investigators Robinson had become more political in recent years. Investigators say they read Discord messages where Tyler talked about retrieving a rifle from a drop point. President Donald Trump has blamed leftist organizations for the shooting. He says they will be investigated.
We'll be announcing. They're already under investigation. They're already under major investigation.
As elected officials from both political parties plead with Americans to turn the temperature down.
We try to be able to find our common ground and to be able to move forward as we can.
I think it can get worse. It can get a lot worse.
The Utah governor says prosecutors expect to formally charge Tyler Robinson on Tuesday. Those charges include aggravated murder, according to court documents. Now, Cox says right now Robinson is not cooperating with authorities, but his family members and partner are. In Washington, I'm Vinay Simlot. Back to you.
Vinay, thank you. Some public school teachers in Texas are now seeing backlash after social media posts about Kirk's death. The Texas Education Agency says it will investigate comments and content that it calls inappropriate.
Superintendents did get a letter from the TEA's commissioner, Mike Morath, saying some of the posts could violate the educators' code of ethics. In the letter, Morath called for, quote, swift action against educators who posted these kinds of comments on social media. Already, some school districts publicly addressed comments made by their own faculty related to the incident. For example, Klein ISD announced that on social media it had fired an employee. Reaction has been mixed as well on possible consequences to these kinds of posts.
People still have a First Amendment right to speak out on matters of civil discourse without threats.
Public educators, your opinions are valid, your opinions are important, but as far as keeping it from the classroom to outside of the classroom, I highly, highly encourage you to express your opinion outside of the classroom.
Depending on how they're talking about it, a lot of these teachers may well be removed, and they need to be removed if they are celebrating and encouraging others to celebrate in this despicable political assassination.
Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says his department is tracking any military personnel or civilian employees who have mocked Kirk's death. In a social media post, he said the department will address it immediately, calling it, quote, completely unacceptable. Texas isn't the only state where some staff have faced disciplinary actions over these kinds of posts. 2 Tennessee universities say they fired staff members because of their posts about Kirk's death. There have also been multiple K-12 educators put on administrative leave, reportedly across the country, for their social media activity.
Today, Georgetown ISD will receive the findings of its intruder detection audit. The Texas Education Agency does the report to make sure that school campuses have adequate safety and security should there be any danger on campus. The state began pushing more campus safety inspections after the deadly mass shooting 3 years ago in Uvalde.
Today is the last of several meetings with Austin ISD for parents to discuss consolidating some campuses. This will be over Zoom from 6 until 8 this evening. So far, no specific school closures have been announced. AISD is expected to release its draft plan for consolidation early next month and take a final vote in November.
Coming up, the White House says National Guard troops could be on their way soon to Memphis. Why the mayor there says he does not want these additional patrols from troops.
Scientists have been studying black holes for more than a decade now. We'll take a closer look at the research being done on what happens when these cosmic giants collide. Welcome back, everybody, and thanks for joining us here on KXAN News at 11. Rich is giving me a welcome home present with my favorite camera. We are taking a look out in High, Texas at a gorgeous view from Covington Cellars there. Just beautiful. Glad to be back here in Central Texas after a few weeks off. Okay, this month, scientists from around the world are revealing new research celebrating a decade of studying one of the great cosmic mysteries.
KXAN senior science reporter Eric Henriksen looks at the power of black holes and the discovery that makes their study possible.
This concrete building in Washington state may not look like much. 10 years ago, it was responsible for one of the most important discoveries of our time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have detected Gravitational waves. We did it.
Gravitational waves were first theorized by Albert Einstein.
These are ripples in space and time itself.
Aaron Zimmerman with UT Austin is part of the team studying gravitational waves, which
actually allow us to see the part of the universe that is dark, that is otherwise completely hidden.
Chad Hanna with Penn State University.
They were detected from the first time from the merger of two black holes.
That first collision was detected in September of 2015 here at the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory.
LIGO is the most precise measuring device ever built.
Turns out black holes collide a lot.
In that moment where the black holes are colliding, more energy is coming out than all the stars in the universe shining.
This week, a new discovery by the LIGO team. When black holes collide, they don't just release energy.
As these two black holes become one, they are joining together.
The surface area of the newly merged black hole equaling the combined surface area of the two smaller black holes, something theorized by Stephen Hawking.
It's kind of like exploring, new continents, new worlds.
Zimmerman says that discoveries like this won't change our day-to-day lives.
But the methods we invent to learn more about gravity might change your life tomorrow.
In Austin, Eric Hendrickson, KXAN News.
Thank you, Eric. Since 2015, LIGO received numerous upgrades, allowing it to more easily detect and measure black holes. Scientists have studied nearly 300 of these types of collisions.
A Central Texas student is working with NASA. Boone Macon is a junior at Lassa High School here in Austin. He was recently selected from nearly 3,000 applicants nationwide for NASA's prestigious STEM Enhancement in Earth Science internship. Congrats to him. This summer, he worked with NASA scientists and did hours of field work around our city. He says if the opportunity one day to work for NASA comes up, he would love to do just that.
I'm definitely interested in going into STEM, especially physics, astronomy, chemistry, and math. I'm also definitely interested in piano, but I think that's kind of like an extracurricular in the future that is special to me.
Now, he says he hopes his fellow classmates and other Austin students take time to look into what they might want to do later in life and maybe find some opportunities like the one he got. Really cool.
I mean, if that's his dream to work for NASA, it well seems like he's on that path.
And early, too. Good for him. A junior in high school.
When did you know what you wanted to do to get to this point?
That's a great question, Rich.
Well, I wanted to be a sports announcer from the time I was about 10 years old. Weather happened when I was in college.
Oh, wow.
But I wanted to be the guy that told people the scores and who hit home runs or kicked field goals and things like that.
And hey, you did that.
And you've gotten to do both now, right?
Done both dreams.
I've gotten to do both. It's time to go to bed.
I think about the same, honestly. Junior in high school, I remember watching the news. I grew up in Dallas, and there's so many incredible newscasters there, journalists. I think about the same. What about?
Yeah, it was watching the Today Show in high school and thinking like, oh wow, they get paid to do that. They studied to do that. And I must say, like, Katie Couric was the foundation of my career, so I had to give all due credit to her because she was such a huge influence.
Yeah. Dreams fulfilled.
That's right. We've all done something and something we thought about doing, and it turned out really well for all of us. Happy for that, and happy for this picture from the Austonian as we take a look at a mostly, if not completely sunny sky, overlooking the northern sky with the Capitol in the foreground. We're looking at increasing clouds later on today with that low chance of rain mainly east of I-35. Mold, fall, elm, grass, and ragweed still all low. We had a couple go up, mold and ragweed, and a couple go down from yesterday in number, fall, elm, and grass. Low temperatures this morning range from the mid-60s at Llano and Fredericksburg to the upper 60s to low 70s in the rest of our viewing area. I'm not sure why this computer still sometimes has the Austin low, but I can tell you it was 72, and that's 2 degrees above the normal. The normal at Bergstrom is 69, and the low there today was 67. Highs this afternoon will be in the low to mid-90s. Some of the numbers may actually be off by a degree or two. It just depends on when the clouds arrive and what rain does fall. But yesterday and on Saturday, we still saw Temperatures not get out of the upper 80s at a few locations in Blanco, Gillespie, and Mason counties. Humidity, which is very comfortable now, will continue to fall into mostly the 40s, maybe a few 30s in the next hour, and then by 5 o'clock, the update here says that we may find some humidity readings in the 20s for those of you maybe taking an early outdoor dinner, or are you going out for that jog or walk the dog later on this afternoon, and then by 9 o'clock we're back on up into the 40s and 50s. We have an area of low pressure that is moving. This is actually an inverted trough. It acts like an area of low pressure that is going to drift towards the west, and that may push a little bit of rain into the area during the afternoon. Just a few isolated to scattered showers, and even on the update from what I saw this morning, most of this, if it does happen, will be across sections of Fayette, Lee, Caldwell, and Bastrop counties. Then we have an upper level low that will settle in the upper Midwest by late in the week. There may be a little rain Thursday, but we see slightly higher chances of rain on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Right now the rain chances are low. It would be showers late in the afternoon into the early evening with a few isolated thunderstorms, and not much rain would be expected in the darker shade of green. Maybe a 1/10 to a 1/4 of an inch between today and Sunday, and 1/100th to a 1/10 of an inch in some of the hill country. Solar forecast for today, mostly sunny to partly cloudy, still all in all a good day to harness that solar energy. So 95 today with a mix of sun and clouds and a 10% chance of rain. We'll be in the mid-90s all week long. Low rain chance Thursday, continued rain chances Friday through Sunday. Overnight low temperatures in town will be in the low 70s for the entire area, mid and upper 60s to around 70. Will?
Rich, thanks so much. If you're anywhere here in Austin, this is something you see all the time. Scooters going around our streets. Coming up, we'll hear what can happen if you crash while riding. Welcome back, everyone. Right here in Austin, on average, people are taking 8,500 trips per day using either e-bikes and various types of scooters. Those are some of the startling numbers tracked and reported over the past 6 years from the city itself.
With so much use, though, one downside, of course, is injuries that can happen from crashes here on Austin streets. We've reported on some of those over the years here at KXAN. A 2024 study, though, published in the American Journal of Public Health found a major spike in these kinds of injuries from e-bikes and scooters just over the last few years. So here to talk through the impact of that and some ways to prevent those injuries is Dr. Matthew Ashley. He's the Chief Medical Officer for the Center for Neuroskills here in Austin. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be back here.
Yeah, we always appreciate you being here and in person too. We want to note that your center does offer rehab for people who have suffered a traumatic brain injury. When it comes to bikes and scooters, what does treatment look like when someone maybe comes to your center? Has that been a common occurrence for the patients that are coming in?
Yeah, as we've seen the rise of these scooters and e-bikes, these are similar types of injuries to what we've seen over the years for bicycles, just in some instances with a little bit more force involved, because obviously e-bikes are a little bit faster and they're a little bit heavier. So the treatment looks like what we've been doing for decades at our organization, which is identifying people's deficits and helping them address those using various therapeutic disciplines.
Sure. What are some of those deficits and maybe some of the longer term impacts too?
Yeah, so our brains really help us control everything that our body does. So the most debilitating things are things when people have problems with cognition. That includes, our thinking processes, our ability to, do our daily tasks and manage our finances and our jobs and our families and all of those kinds of things. They also relate to mobility and balance and all the things that people might expect. But the most debilitating things long-term tend to be those impairments in our abilities to think and process.
And especially if you're going anywhere in and around downtown Austin, you happen to see these all the time. So if somebody is wanting to take a ride on one of the scooters or the e-bikes, what's the best thing that they should do? Is it as simple as putting on a helmet when they do that?
Certainly for prevention of head injury and brain injury, that is a big step. And we know that using a helmet reduces your risk of injury by about 50% if you're involved in an accident. There are a lot of other things, and these devices are fun, and I don't want to be the fun police and tell people not to use them, but safety is sort of basic. Wear your helmet, learn to do that from a young age and just have it be part of your process. Drive safely and in predictable ways. These devices, we think of them as making noise, but when you're in a motor vehicle, they're silent and they're also small. And so it's easy for motorists to overlook you, and the most serious injuries happen either from injuries where there's a significant fall or there is a motor vehicle collision.
So that's mostly a message for both the user of the e-scooter or bike and people who are driving around the community.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's really important. These devices are happening, and we are increasingly distracted while we're driving, so I think it's a good point for motor vehicle operators to pay attention and look for these really small people driving around on these devices.
And a good reminder too, we know there's so many new UT students. Football season is when I really see these scooters out and about, so good reminders for everyone. While we have you here, anything more broadly about traumatic brain injuries that you see here in the Austin area?
I don't know about specific to Austin, but I think in general, traumatic brain injury is something that's under-recognized by I think most people. Concussion is really a form of traumatic brain injury, and I think a lot of people don't really realize that. And we know that these injuries aren't just additive, they can be sort of cumulative in other ways and produce big problems. So if people have a head injury, seek the appropriate evaluation from your provider and get good care.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ashley, for coming on. It's a good reminder for all of us. We see these out and about, and it's better to be aware and good to talk about the risks.
For sure.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We appreciate it, and we'll be right back after the break.
In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News at 11.
The Trump administration is set to deploy federal troops to a growing list of American cities. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Avery Travis.
And I'm Will Dupree. Meanwhile, demonstrations against ICE happened this weekend in Chicago. NBC's Garrett Hake has the latest from Washington.
The White House strategy of surging federal resources and the National Guard into cities to fight crime set to expand south. The administration preparing to launch a combined mission, including the FBI and National Guard soldiers, into Memphis, Tennessee.
We're going to Memphis. Memphis that's the next city. Deeply troubled. And the mayor is happy. He's a Democrat mayor. The mayor is happy. We're going to fix that just like we did Washington.
I'm certainly not happy about the National Guard.
The city's Democratic mayor saying Saturday this isn't the kind of help his city needs.
The last time the National Guard was in Memphis was 1968 at MLK's assassination, after MLK's assassination. And so we don't want to invoke those same images here.
Democrats pointing to Memphis police statistics that show crime at a 25-year low, arguing a surge would be a spectacle.
We need to work at the root causes of crime and not just throw something that looks good on television. This is a Trump television show.
It comes as the Washington Post reports, citing planning documents not confirmed by NBC News, that the Pentagon has drafted a proposal to activate 1,000 Louisiana National Guard troops to serve a law enforcement mission in that state's cities, including New Orleans. The president floating such a move earlier this month.
We're going to come into New Orleans and we're going to make that place so safe.
The White House declining to comment on the report. A Pentagon spokesperson telling NBC News leaked documents should not be interpreted as policy. Over the weekend, parades mixing with public defiance in Chicago and Los Angeles at Mexican Independence Day celebrations.
People want to scare us from our home, but we're not going anywhere.
The two cities have seen recent surges in immigration enforcement, with the president publicly pondering ordering a National Guard deployment in Chicago, too, despite opposition from the state's governor and the certainty of court challenges.
Garrett Hake reporting for us there. Congress has just 7 working days left to avoid a government shutdown, and lawmakers on both sides of the aisle say they will blame the other party if that happens.
We could get a better sense as well of how this could play out as early as today. House Republicans are expected to unveil their plan. Any solution is likely to be a short-term fix, though, or a continuing resolution. For the most part, it would keep spending levels where they are until a long-term spending bill is passed. Some Republicans oppose that short-term measure, calling for a long-term plan with more spending cuts.
However, Democrats say they will not agree to any spending measure that doesn't include health care protections. In the Senate, some lawmakers want to attach new Russia sanctions to the bill as well. Neither side says they want a shutdown, but there's not much time left to avoid that outcome.
I expect us to be able to solve the budget issues, which the American people expect to be able to do as well. These are hard issues. We're sent to be able to do hard things. We should do hard things on it. We should not, first and foremost, have a government shutdown.
The Republican-only
bill that was passed earlier this year, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, threatens to raise rates for health care for millions of Americans and to throw millions more off of health care. I think there are ways we can reduce the harm to Americans' health care through the appropriations process.
Even if the House can pass its plan this week, the Senate would not be able to bring it to a vote until sometime next week.
Central Texas Republican Representative Michael McCall announced he is not seeking re-election next year. McCall represents the 10th congressional district. That includes parts of Leander and Cedar Park here in Central Texas, as well as parts of College Station. He put out a statement this weekend online calling it an honor to represent the people of Central Texas and to chair the Homeland Security and Foreign Affairs committees. He went on to say this, quote, "I am ready for a new challenge in 2027 and look forward to continuing to serve my country in the national security and foreign policy realm."
First warning weather.
All right, we're taking you live out to Marble Falls, a view from the water there. Some folks out there on the water and traffic is moving.
Yeah, someone's enjoying the nice weather that we're experiencing,
nice?
at least at 11:35 this morning. So let's get a sense about what else is in store for today with meteorologist Rich Siegel.
Yeah, we are enjoying the fact that there are some people that are able to enjoy the lake today, and we saw a few hardy souls out there. But right now we're just reporting a fair to partly cloudy sky, not only in Marble Falls, but just about everywhere else. This is the view from our River City Grill Highland Furniture camera overlooking Highway 281. In Marble Falls up to 88 right now, 88 also at Horseshoe Bay, 87 at Bertram, 85 at Kingsland, 84 at Llano, 82 at Castell. In Travis, Williamson, and Hayes counties, it looks like 85 to 89 for the majority of the reporting stations in the middle of our viewing area. And as we look off to the east, we're already up to 90 degrees at the reporting station at Midday on 290 through north central Bastrop County. It's 80 not too far away at Lexington, and then most of the rest of the area in the mid and upper 80s to a few at 90 degrees. The humidity running in the 40s for most, a few 30s, a few 50s. We'll see a further reduction in these numbers as we get later into the day. For the afternoon, we're looking at low rain chances starting after about 1:30 to 2 o'clock, and that rain primarily, as we see that 10% through the afternoon, is for the eastern part of our viewing area. Fayette, Lee, Caldwell, Bastrop counties, as you'll see coming up in our longer weather segment coming up. So that's what we have for the afternoon, but there are rain chances in our forecast as we go further into the week, and we'll detail that and why it will happen later on in First Warning Weather. Avery?
Rich, thank you. The United States and China are reportedly on track toward a deal to avoid a TikTok ban.
That potential deal comes days before a deadline that could have banned the popular video sharing app here in the U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said today the country struck a framework for a TikTok deal. He offered few details about what that agreement includes, but he did say he expects this to all go through by the end of the week.
We have a framework for a TikTok deal. The two leaders, President Trump and Party Chair Xi, will speak on Friday to complete the deal, but we do have a framework for a deal with TikTok.
President Trump posted on social media about this, writing an agreement had been reached over a, quote, company that young people in our country very much wanted to save. It is still unclear what kind of agreement was made on a key sticking point. That's control of TikTok's algorithm, which dictates what users out there see on the app. Trade talks also picked up again overseas today for the U.S. and China. The two countries are meeting in Spain. This marks the fourth time in 4 months that the delegations have met. They're trying to keep a fractured trade relationship from collapsing amid President Trump's push for additional tariffs.
September is Hunger Action Month, a campaign aimed at showing the need for food bank volunteers and donations. We know children are among the millions across the country facing food insecurity.
In Hayes, Travis, and Williamson counties, there are more than 100,000 children facing food insecurity. KXAN's Nabil Ramadna shows us how Austin ISD and the Central Texas Food Bank are working to help.
At the Galindo Elementary School pantry,
they really love mac and cheese and soups.
There are a lot of options to choose from. Karina Aguian, a mother of 4, she stops here often.
But everything that I cook, they need to eat it.
She says grocery bills can be expensive, but the pantry helps.
This pantry, they made me save like at least $100 a week.
Galindo's principal says the pantry is being utilized all the time by a lot of families.
We have about 92% of our students are economically disadvantaged. It has been an amazing resource for our families.
The need for food assistance for our kiddos is on the rise.
According to the Central Texas Food Bank, between Hays, Williamson, and Travis counties, there are 104,735 children who are food insecure.
We are in our sort room. We're setting up a shift, getting ready for volunteers.
Sari Vatsky, the CEO of Central Texas Food Bank, says partnering with schools to set up food pantries like the one at Galindo is one way to fight food insecurity.
And this year, we're excited to open our 9th school pantry that we will have for students, and that's in addition to our college pantries that we support as well.
For families like Aguian who use the pantries, it means a little less stress, knowing their kids will get to eat.
Lasagna, I never tried this, but I'm gonna try it.
Nabil Ramadna, KXAN News.
Nabil, thank you so much for that story. The Central Texas Food Bank has partnered with districts like Austin ISD, Del Valley, Hays, Bastrop, and Lockhart to set up pantries. So if you'd like to volunteer or donate, you can find more information at this story at KXAN.com. Going in depth here, the Hays County Food Bank recently moved to a new location. There, it says it can expand operations and serve more people. This new facility is the county's first client choice market. It's designed as a grocery store, so clients can walk through and pick their own items. The food bank says that food insecurity and the rate of that in Hays County is slightly lower than Central Texas as a whole.
It was a wild one and then some in Arlington on Sunday. I've got it for you coming up.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Good morning to you. Back to work for the Longhorns. They get set for their final non-conference game and their final home game in this 3-game homestand when they host Sam Houston State. Coach Sark will speak later today. No doubt a hot topic will be the offensive struggles, although Arch Manning has been part of all of Texas's touchdowns through 3 ball games against Sam Houston State Saturday night at 7. All right, Cowboys home opener for Brian Schottenheimer as the head coach, and what a memorable game it was and will be for him. Javonte Williams and the Cowboys trailing by 10 to the Giants, and then they take the lead. It was 17-16 going to the 4th quarter, and then it was just a scoring spree. Miles Sanders makes it 27-23. Russell Wilson, he found the fountain of youth. They were talking about benching him for Jackson Dart, the rookie from Ole Miss. He throws for 450. Wan'Dale Robinson on 4th down, 30-27. Inside of a minute to go, George Pickens touchdown from Dak Prescott. Cowboys regain the lead by 4, but you can see the time, 32 seconds. And again, Wilson unloading to the rookie Malik Neighbors for the touchdown. Is that the dagger? It's not, because the Cowboys have Brandon Aubrey. They don't need much on offense to get him in field goal range, and he blasts that one home from beyond 60 to send it to overtime. Then the offense is sputtered, so it was a next score win situation, and Wilson just throws a punt to Donovan Wilson. Easy catch. So could the Cowboys get enough for Brandon Aubrey? Yes, they could. Prescott, great throw right here. He threw for 360. That's Pickens, and then a Prescott run, and then Aubrey a chance to walk it off, and he does just that. Cowboys get that first victory, 40-37. Next up, they get the Chicago Bears. Tonight in Houston, Texans trying to even up their record at 1-1. They take on Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay. Back to you.
There's a new statue on the University of Texas campus honoring a man who helped make the Longhorn Band what it is today. This is Vincent R. DeNino, also known as Mr. D. He was the first full-time band director of the band from 1955 to 1975. Look at that, really cool on the field there. He then served as the university's director of bands until 1985.
Now, before he became that position, students had run the band entirely. Thanks to Mr. D, the band grew to nearly 400 students. They also got their, of course, famed Western-style uniforms and Big Bertha, that large bass drum. DeNino died in 2014 at 96 years old. Now, during his job interview at UT, initially, Mr. D allegedly told them, quote, "I will build you the best dang college band in the country." And
he did.
It's very close to it. You can make that argument.
Yeah, I mean, they're amazing. And I think, too, just the fact that now he's getting honored with this statue, so students who are walking on campus will get to learn a little bit about the history of the band is really
Gives
cool.
me goosebumps.
Yeah, they're amazing. You all, I've missed the last 2 games, and I'll be
back.
going this week, and I cannot wait. Speaking of goosebumps, I'm excited.
Yeah, it should be. Any football game is always worth going to. I hope you have a good time.
I'm excited.
Yeah, okay.
But I know that I heard from some friends last weekend at the game that it's a toasty one out there. It's been...
Well, it was on Saturday because the temperature at kickoff was 96, but the humidity was lower. However, with all those people there, yeah. Let's go to Lockhart. We'll talk more Texas football, I'm sure, before the week is over. But the view from the Kreitz Market weather camera in Lockhart does show a few of these scattered clouds starting to increase, and we'll continue to see them build in from the east as we get further into the afternoon. High forecast 93 at Lockhart. And you folks might get a smidge of that little bit of rain that is forecast for this afternoon. Humidity will be lowering during the afternoon into mostly the 30s as the air dries out. But we have a weather system that is heading towards the area. You can see the counterclockwise spin in the atmosphere right there, and it is going to travel to the west. And it is that system that may provide a little bit of rain later on today. Now, as we go through this time lapse, we see a low pressure system, a trough, settle through the plain states coming out of the Rockies, and this will lead to a little bit of rain that we have possibly on Thursday into the weekend. So nothing in the next hour or two, but as we get into the early afternoon hours, we see an increase in the potential for these very small and teeny isolated showers that will be gone with the loss of daytime heating about the time the sun goes down after 7:30 tonight. And then we'll be dry on Tuesday and Wednesday. I've got a 10% chance of rain Thursday just in case, but then the rain chances go up on Friday and continue at 20% on Saturday and again on Sunday. How much rain? This is the American Models depiction today, not even 1/100th in most locations that might see it. And then we'll get into some higher numbers, if you want to call them that, less than 1/10 of an inch in the hill country and maybe 1/10 up to some places maybe near 1/4 of an inch in the southern and southeastern viewing areas, and specifically from San Marcos on over to LaGrange and Flatonia. All right, the National Hurricane Center is investigating this system that is in the open Atlantic with a 40% chance of tropical development between today and Wednesday, and for the next 7 days an 80% likelihood. And as I said, we are still waiting for the 7th named storm in the Atlantic season, Gabrielle, and that may happen in time. Meanwhile, over the weekend, Mario re-intensified, and so after it had died a slow death on Friday, Saturday, yesterday it re-intensified back to a tropical storm. Winds are at 50 miles per hour, will stay that way through tomorrow morning. Then it's an area of low pressure on Wednesday, and again on Thursday. It looks like it gets over with by Thursday into Friday. Today, 95, normal high is 92, low rain chance at 10%. We'll stay in the mid-90s all the way through the week. Again, low rain chance on Thursday, and only isolated to scattered showers Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. These are mid to late afternoon developments. For the football game that Avery is going to, we may have a few showers near the area. I don't think it's ever going to rain over the stadium, but the kickoff temperature, if we're looking at a high of 94, that kickoff temperature should be close to 88. How about that, Avery?
I'll take it. Bridge, thank you. More local restaurants are celebrating big milestones this year. We'll tell you about the latest to honor over 40 years in business ahead.
And a look at what you can watch this evening on KXAN Plus. That's our free streaming app. At 2 this afternoon, it's Southeast Sports. Then tonight at 6:30, it's Horns Report and Simple Health at 8, followed by Border Report at 8:30. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. A milestone anniversary for an iconic Austin restaurant. Kirby Lane Cafe is celebrating 45 years serving the Austin area.
Of course, known for its breakfast, this Austin staple says it has evolved to make sure it continues to thrive here. Owner Mason Ayers says that his parents started the business back in 1980. He says in a city that has seen so much change, the restaurant has to keep up with all of that, adding new items to the menu, but of course, still keeping the staples.
And if I was to introduce somebody to Kirby Lane for the first time and I said, okay, you want to get a dish that's going to hit and you're going to be really happy with it, get the eggs Francisco with cinnamon roll pancakes. Like, can't go wrong there.
And now the stomach grumbles are kicking in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Y'all, I have to say, Kirby Lane Cafe was the first place I ever ate in Austin.
You know what? That was the first place when I got this job and came to work on my very first day. I went with a reporter out that day, and we ate at Kirby Lane. That was the first thing.
It's iconic.
I'll be there Thursday morning at 8:30 after I give my donation for my physical. You have to give blood for your physical,
Right.
and I'm staying away from sweets, but I'm having French toast on Thursday morning. Did I see a menu item on there? Did you see it said Nabil's
I saw that too.
So is it him?
I don't know. We need to have a follow-up question to ask him. Yeah.
Inquiring minds want to know. All right, here is the after-school forecast. When you go to pick your children up, about low to mid-90s will be most of our temperatures with a low chance of rain east of I-35. The rain gone by the early evening. Temperature drops into the upper 80s with the clouds starting to clear out.
Intel from our director. It is not named for our very own.
It
Nabil.
isn't?
I think
Okay.
maybe it should
Not.
be. Maybe we'll start an online petition and like get in the streets about it.
A second Nabil menu item. We love you, Nabil. All right, we'll be back right after the break. I need a pancake. I think I'll be able to get through the show better.
That would be helpful.
With a cinnamon roll pancake. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you after the break.